friends, let's look at this user and post management system using MongoDB and Mongo Atlas, Node.js, and Express. So this is the user schema I do, and user schema I use Mongoose to build up schema of data and connect to MongoDB. And the user schema is like this. It's an object. A user is an object which has name, which is string, and has email, which is string, and has password, which is also string. And a user has a list of friends, and the list of friend is his or her friend is a object which has its own user ID and has this is reference of users, and also the friend of a connect date, which means at what day did they become friend, and also has a create date, which is the register date of registration of this user when it is created. And also I created a post schema. A post schema is an object which has user, which is the user ID, like who posted this post. This is the owner of this post, and text is string and is required, and the name is the name of the post is also required. That means this is not name of the post but the title of the post, and the create date, which is the date it is created. So this is the schema. So previously in SQL database we use an extra table to join different users, like join their friend. The relationship marked as from user to user and has an ID and created. But in MongoDB we cannot do the relational database stuff, so I stored the user list in the user schema, and also this user, his friend is stored here, and his or her name is also stored in his friends list, and that is the case. So let's see the Mongo Atlas. So this is the Mongo Atlas I created, and in the collections we could see the data. The data is also I used a seed folder, I think, yeah, as I did in the Redis project. And this is the database, and we could see the post schema. That just it may take some time to response. So this is the object ID, and this is the user ID who wrote this post. And this is the text. I took a basketball course this afternoon, and the name is Jesse Fry, which is the user. Okay, sorry, I forgot. This is not the name of the post, but the name of the user. So this will be displayed. So I decided to include this data in the schema, but actually you don't need to do that, because you could query that, made another query, use the user ID to get more information. But for to make things easier and efficiently, I decided to nest it here. So this is the create date and some version, and the users. Let's see the users. So this is the user Jessie Fry name, and her email is this, and her password is 129, and she has a friend list. A friend list is nothing but a array list. In an array, the array is a array of objects, so they are indexed, and we see the object has a ID of itself. This is object ID the Mongo created automatically created for us, and this is the user ID of this object. That means it is a user and also created. So these are the friend list. So yeah, and you could also build your own database if you are interested, and just need to register an account and yes, and select location and a cloud server. So let's start the project. After you download this code from a GitHub repository, and you could just type npm run server, and that server will start. As we see in the package JSON. So here we use the script called server to use Nodima to run server. It will reload our page automatically whenever a update is saved. don't need to do it manually to refresh the browser and the page. And I use body parser to handle requests from form. I use config to configure configuration for MongoDB, and I use EJS as this render engine to render the pages and information from the database. And also use Express to structure the server as the Express validator to validate whether the user input is valid. And also I use Mongoose to connect to MongoDB and manipulate data. And I use dev dependency. I use the Nodima. And after we started the server, we could go to actually I'll refresh it. Just it will this will start at localhost 5000. So the UI is not so fancy, but it performs all those basic functions. So we could create a new user and we could update a new user. Also we could get or delete a specific user by its ID. And then also for tweet, okay, let's call it a tweet. We could create a new tweet. At creation, we need to put the user ID who created this post and what text that he posted and what's his name. And we could update the tweet, update the previous 3 information, and also we could get or delete a specific by its ID, the tweet ID. And also we could join user friend. And join user friend is we type user 1's ID and user 2's ID and create join. Then the 2 user appears in both mutually in each other's list are added. And unjoin user friend means we insert their ID and unjoin users from friend, remove each from the other person's list. And also we could get users friends post. So to simulate a real world application, I'm a user and registered user, and I have a list of friends. And today I log in, I want to browse my friends post, then I could just click this and get my friends. Enter my ID and get tweet. I could get my friend's tweet. And let's create a user. So username is called admin. Let's call it admin email. Admin someone email at gmail.com. Password someone password and create. So you can see a lot of message returned called user created, and we know this user is created. Now we could refresh the page, and we could search if admin is here somewhere. Okay, we see the admin is created at the bottom of the list. So we could update the user. I want to update the admin, and I want to update his email. So okay, so for the query, I didn't use the user ID to query the user because it's hard to find, and I use email because each user can have multiple email, but an email cannot have multiple users. So this is a many one-to-many relationship, many to one relationship. So we could use any email to find that user. So we use access as gmail.com and the password someone password. We change the name as administrator, and we create. We click update. We can see the information user updated, and we go back to the home page, refresh it, we find admin, and we see this name is updated to administrator, and the ID is still the initial ID. Let's say we want to get a specific user, and we type this user ID. We move to the get user, and we find the information is this is not fancy layout, but just a basic CRUD operation tested with Mongo. So this is administrator and email passwords was that we just created, and we could delete this user better and create delete, and we see the message user successfully deleted, and we know this user is no longer there, and we search admin. Okay, not the ID, that means admin. Why is it still there? In the refresh. Okay, now we refresh the page and we see the user is gone. It's no longer there. So we successfully deleted the user, and we create a tweet. Say the Tomcat. Let's say we create a tweet of Tomcat. So user ID is what? This ID we call PA, and user ID text I love Jerry, and username is Tomcat, and we create a tweet. Okay, sure. A message is sent. Tell us that message is created. What is the post and information? So I also log that into my console, and then let's see the created post. We want to get that post first to see if we have successfully created that. Get tweet. No tweet under this ID. Okay, this should be the not the user ID. This should be the tweet ID. So update a tweet. So what will be the tweet ID? We need to have the tweet. Okay, sure. So for this bit, we can see the tweet ID at the bottom. Tomcat tweet I love Jerry, and this is ID. So this kind of not necessary, but just test the basic function. So get tweet, we see this message tweet form, and this is I love Jerry text, all those related informations, and we go to here, we delete that tweet, and we delete tweet, we see message tweet deleted. So let's move to the end of it, and we refresh, we see this other tweet is gone. So let's move that. So this is get delete specific tweet, tweet ID, and update the tweet also. It works just like the users. So let's join user friend. Let's call it join user friend. What I want to join? I want to join Jesse Fry and Tomcat as friend. So Tomcat join server error. Insert to not found. Okay, this user might be already deleted, so we add a different user. To then this user ID join. Okay, errors users were already friends, so it seems I've already joined them as friends. So let's try another user to try whom. Try this one. Let's see if I have joined these two users. Okay, maybe I have to do a lot of experience on the first user. Let's join these two, Edison and another guy. Why is this still a server error? Okay, I will find it. Okay, probably I know it, and I will fix it. I know where it is, where the problem is. I'm sure about it. So let's search JC Fry and user is ID and get tweet. We see this is a lot of chunky, but we could see this is the unprocessed JSON file, JSON file of its user its friend's tweets. We can see the ID, the user, and the user ID, and the tweet message, and the user, the author of that post. And let's do another join. Maybe I need to fix this bug, but actually it should work smoothly. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do a check here. And for Android, let's also do Android Jesse Fry and another user. So let's these two and Android and not Android who are not friend. They are not friend. Okay, sure. But who is her friend? Let me just quickly test this function. And it works. These two are friends. Okay, maybe I pasted it at the wrong place. Okay, copy it. Okay, Android. Okay, message below users are Android. So this function still works. So there might be some problem happening to the first one. So I will test it later. I test it now and fix it. Okay, thanks for watching. This is just a quick and short demo for this project. So the layout is like this, and this left hand column is user data and red column is tweet data, and you could see them lengthy and okay. So this is the overall introduction of this application. Okay, thanks for watching.